If my kid hangs out with your kids and my kid is the only kid that does not come back alive, everybody dies.
An 18-year-old star football player found dead after vanishing during a 4th of July boating trip with friends, as questions swirl about what led up to the teenager's tragic death.
Well, the fact that they continue to tell the family that we don't see any evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation.
We live in a world right now where you will accept the very worst of us. You will say, he scared me, he attacked me. All you have to do is conjure up this notion of the...
After the Mississippi police announced that Nolan Wells' death was not considered criminal and claimed they found no signs of foul play, many people questioned that conclusion immediately. Anyone who has followed this investigation already realizes something feels seriously wrong. Nolan's relatives certainly don't accept those findings. They requested a separate independent autopsy and insist investigators are attempting to hide important evidence, including footage allegedly showing Nolan involved in some type of confrontation with his supposed friends shortly before he was found dead. Now D.L. Hughley has also weighed in, arguing this situation is far from unprecedented. He noted that authorities have previously been quick to dismiss foul play whenever a black person died after spending time with a group of white individuals. I'll come back to that shortly, but first, here's a breakdown of the timeline for anyone just learning about this case. On July 4, 18-year-old student-athlete Nolan Wells, from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, traveled with several white boys to remote Horn Island aboard a private boat. Around 4:30 that afternoon, his friends returned to the mainland, yet Nolan remained behind. According to the account, he had been speaking with a girl and planned to ride back later with someone else. That never happened, and his mother reported him missing later that evening. Then, on July 6, a park ranger discovered Nolan's body floating in the water near the northwest tip of Horn Island. Officials identified him using dental records, and an autopsy took place on July 7. Even so, those autopsy findings still have not been made public. Initially, local authorities announced they intended to conduct a thorough investigation into the case. Yet only 2 days afterward, they stated there was no evidence of foul play even though the investigation remained active. Here's why many people find the official explanation difficult to trust. Although police insist there is no evidence suggesting foul play, a video later emerged that appears to capture a tense confrontation on Horn Island within the very same area where Nolan's body was ultimately discovered there. Now, let's discuss the group of white boys who had been with Nolan. Right after everything unfolded, every one of them hired attorneys and removed their social media accounts. The complete list of everyone aboard that boat has never been publicly released because, naturally, it hasn't. Even so, social media users managed to identify one individual. His name is Warren Cole, and he is the son of Ashley Cole, a District 16-2 judge in Mississippi. She has already issued public statements attempting to discourage speculation surrounding her son's possible involvement. She also acknowledged deleting her social media accounts, claiming she feared for her son's safety. She further explained that she wanted to ensure no one in her family could interfere with the investigation because her son has been fully cooperating with police. But if interfering was never her intention, why make these statements at all? Why would a judge whose son is connected to a death investigation feel compelled to address the public before everything is known? And, by the way, her son's explanation was that the boat was quote taking on water and had quote issue with the bilge pump. That's why they departed at 4:30. He claimed they needed to return the boat before it completely sank. So, your boat is sinking during an emergency, yet you leave your friend behind on the island and he supposedly chooses to remain there without food, water, or any way to contact someone. Now, this story becomes even more unbelievable. Nolan's family has now retained prominent civil rights attorney Ben Crump, and he revealed Nolan's friends departed the island while taking Nolan's phone with them. Think about that. They abandoned him on an isolated barrier island, yet somehow remembered to bring his phone back before leaving. Nolan's mother confirmed exactly that, explaining she and Nolan's father actually had his phone during the search for him. So, the phone returned to the mainland before Nolan ever did. Ben Crump also explained that once the family recovered the phone, they quickly realized something seemed wrong. Several messages had been erased, and they're now trying to determine exactly why.
To turn over his cell phone to the Mississippi law enforcement authorities. But even that is troubling to them because they're saying messages that were deleted from his cell phone. So they want to try to dot every I and cross every T and investigate everything. They said it's very improbable that Nolan would not have wanted his cell phone with him if he was going to stay on the island.
Mm-hmm. The deleted text messages on his phone? His parents found that? Who found that out?
No, well, they got his phone, so they're trying to figure out there's deletions on the phone, and they're trying to look at what is that about. There's so many inconsistencies.
There are simply too many contradictions surrounding this entire situation. Adding to that, Ben Crump revealed Nolan's quote friends allegedly tried convincing him to take certain substances. He declined, and that's reportedly what sparked the confrontation. Nolan had a Division I football tryout approaching soon. He stayed clean. He wasn't drinking or doing anything that might ruin his opportunity. According to Ben Crump, Nolan quote clearly expressed that he didn't want to consume anything capable of appearing in his system. Yet the other boys aboard that boat were reportedly pushing him, and he refused completely. Then there are conflicting accounts. The girl Nolan was reportedly speaking with around 3:00 p.m. told investigators that after their conversation ended, Nolan said he was returning to the boat. Meanwhile, the boys aboard claimed Nolan told them he intended to remain with her. So which version is true? She says he returned to the boat. They insist he never did. Either someone is lying, or everyone involved is working together intentionally to throw the investigation off course. Now, here's why this case generated such a strong reaction online beyond the obvious circumstances. This isn't the first incident where a black person died under suspicious circumstances after spending time with a group of white people. Remember the Tama Horford case from 2018? She was a 40-year-old black mother of 5 who attended a slumber party in Georgia with 7 white women and 3 white men. The following morning. Somehow there's always a lack of evidence of foul play. She was discovered dead in the backyard. Her head, neck, and torso had all suffered significant injuries, yet officials concluded she became drunk, fell from a deck, and that explained everything. Naturally, Tama's family rejected that explanation and hired their own medical examiner who determined those injuries could not have resulted from a single fall. Then it was revealed that the boyfriend of one woman attending that party worked as a court employee who was fired after illegally accessing her case files, and he was the individual who discovered Tama's body. After public pressure intensified, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation reopened the case. However, they closed it again very quickly, and no criminal charges were ever filed. Now people are looking at Nolan Wells' case and saying history appears to be repeating itself. That's where D.L. Hughley enters the conversation. He referenced Tama Horford's case and shared these side-by-side photos of Tama and Nolan alongside their white friends. Then he wrote in the caption. Someone on X wrote, since Nolan Wells was more than likely flirting with a white girl, I think every weird occurrence noticed on the island at that time should be investigated. There could have been another there mad about him being with a white girl. It is Mississippi, after all. And another user said, how many times is Mississippi going to repeat history? The story of EMTT Till is renowned as a rare tragedy, but my home state repeats itself with a different young black man all too regularly. So regularly that I saw the photos of Nolan Wells on that boat and knew, He was the missing person before I read further. So regularly that I saw a young black man surrounded by white men and immediately got a pit in my stomach. Then, considering Mississippi's history, many people have now begun believing that local authorities are deliberately covering up the truth behind what really happened to Nolan, according to widespread speculation. Rest in power to EMTT Till, Nolan Wells, and every black kid in between. Now let me hear your thoughts about this case. How do you feel regarding the police immediately ruling out foul play? Leave your comments below, and I'll get back to you with another update as soon as we have something new.